Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, cause I'm okay. Doesn't matter if my beard is gray. Just listen, I have something to say.
Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, cause I'm okay. And this old goat has something to say. So just keep learning from Grandpa Dennis's turning.
Hello, I'm Dennis Pervinsky, and welcome to Grandpa Dennis's wood-turning studio. Today, it's all about paying it forward. Here's the story. Ryan is a young man living on the West Coast. He found this burl in a West Coast river and kept it in his garage for 10 years. Ryan is a young, energetic man who's always helping friends and colleagues. He's also taking extra training to increase his skill base. My relative works with him and showed him Grandpa Dennis's YouTube channel. Ryan immediately ran home, brought back this burl, and gave it to my relative. He said, "Perhaps Grandpa Dennis would like this and he can use it in his collection." Here's the pay forward part. I'm going to turn this into a bowl at no cost and send it back to my relative. He in turn will re-gift it to Ryan, a young man who always gives more than he receives. Now, let's see what we've got here. I'm thinking this is a Cedar Burl. It looks like it's got a lot of figure in it, as there's a lot of waviness on the surface. There is a hole in here, and my thinking is I'll clean this out and perhaps fill it with resin. This appears to be the trunk of the tree. I'd like to keep some of this aspect. Right now, my thinking is to flatten off this bottom and make it about that angle. I'm thinking right now I'd like to turn a nice bowl in the center here. But I would like to leave a lot of these indents and this kind of feature on the outside. So rather than turn this down to match that interior, I might just sand this all down and bring out the grain and leave it rustic looking. Because this hole is relatively deep, my fear is that it's going to go through as I turn the center of this. That's why I'll put the resin in there. When I turn this bowl, my thinking is to keep these pieces like so. Turn this part out and keep the branch coming on each side. Then keep this uneven surface all the way around. Well, that's my first thoughts. So let's see how that's going to turn out. So I'm using the designer epoxy resin again. It's going to be the Pro Series this time from designerepoxy.ca or designerepoxy.com. Both will get you there. And don't forget, if you're ordering this stuff, you can get a 10% discount by putting my code name in, Grandpa Dennis. So, 2 parts A, 1 part B. There'll be enough, I can always mix another one. Tuscany Gold. That's the color I'm going to use. I now have it between centers and I'm tidying up the bottom to accept the waste block. I'll turn a tenon on the waste block that will be able to accept the jaws for my one-way stronghold chuck. The piece did break away from the drive center as the trunk part came apart and was no longer engaged. However, no damage done. The glue block is now onto the piece with the 2-hour epoxy from Designer Epoxy, and it dried overnight. I know that some people use hot glue, but I find the epoxy works and it gives me more peace of mind. I'm cleaning up the bottom part of the burl to make a cleaner transition to the foot. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone who's watching this video to subscribe to my channel and to hit the like button if you think it was worth watching. Please stay tuned to the end and watch the close-ups of the final product. Now comes the hours of sanding from 60 grit all the way to 1500. Fortunately, I'm not going to be showing all the hours of sanding. Although there wasn't a lot of actual wood turning in this project, it sure took a lot of time. That sanding was very tedious. I estimate approximately 40 hours to get the project completed. Now to work on the inside. First of all, I cut the middle part of the trunk with a handsaw, leaving just the 2 outer pieces. Then I started on the hollowing out of the bowl. Once I got a sense of how wide the bowl would be, I drilled out the center to the depth I wanted. This required a great deal of measuring to ensure I didn't go through the bottom. Now that I have a sense of the diameter of the bowl, I'm working away at the edge a little bit at a time until I reach the final diameter. Now I'm chipping away at the trunk to blend it into the bowl. This is the transition I was looking for. The rough turning is basically finished. Now to do the finishing cuts. I'm using a scraper to better blend the bottom of the bowl with the sides. Now it's back to more sanding. I'll go up to 1500 grit. Then I'll use alcohol to take off the dust. After that, I use a buffing compound that's got white diamond grit in it. That polishes it out even more. Then I remove the wax that's on the piece using alcohol again. I've got my carving vise set up in such a way that I can put my stronghold chuck and screw it right onto the base. Now I can release the hydraulic pressure and move it around in any location and direction that I want. I have it set up now to fill this void, and I'll be using the designer epoxy CA glue for that. I also have to fill the voids left by the few bubbles that came out during the drying process of the epoxy. I think I could have avoided those bubbles had I taken the container of epoxy and put it into my vacuum chamber for 20 minutes or so. But I was in a hurry. This carving vise sure comes in handy for a project like this, where I have a lot of detailed work to do and I can maneuver it into all kinds of angles. This way I don't have to take the piece off of the one-way stronghold chuck. And I maintain a great deal of flexibility to move it around, yet have it held very securely. The side pieces of the trunk are the weak point in the bowl. They could split off quite easily, so I'm saturating it completely with the CA glue from Designer Epoxy. The finish I use on all of my bowls is 1/3 boiled linseed oil, 1/3 polyurethane, and 1/3 pure tung oil. I saturate as much as I can the piece and then wipe off as much as I can. Leave it overnight to cure and then repeat the process 2, 3, or 4 times. It's quite lengthy, but boy does it ever give a wonderful finish. It just makes the grain pop. It's a very durable, natural oil finish that doesn't look like the bowl is covered in plastic. Hey Ryan, this bowl's for you. This is proof that sometimes good guys do finish first. If you like this video, please subscribe and hit the like button. That really helps my analytics a lot. Share this with as many people as you can, because I sure need more views. This has been an interesting project. Not my typical bowl, but I think it turned out great. I really like the contrast between the natural kind of edging down here and the beautiful finish on the inside. Please leave a comment for me. I'd like to know what you think of this and whether I should have done something different with this bowl. That would be really useful to see what you think about it. Until the next time, keep on turning.
Grandpa Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, 'cause I'm okay. Doesn't matter if my beard is gray. Just listen, I have something to say.
Grandpa Dennis is turning.
I'm alright, 'cause I'm okay. And this old goat has something to say. So just keep learning from Grandpa Dennis is turning.